Good evening, and welcome to Montcalm Community College, home of the Centurions. I'm Dr. Bradley Barrick, president here at MCC, and it is my distinct honor to officially convene our 59th annual commencement ceremony. At this time, would you please rise for the playing of our national anthem, and then remain standing for the invocation to be delivered by Steve Charnley, adjunct faculty member of World Religions.
Thank you, Dr. Barrick, for that kind introduction and the invitation to give our invocation. Could you bow with me in a spirit of prayer? Great Spirit that moves across the land, source of wisdom that is the fount of all knowledge, tonight we join our hearts and minds in a celebration of accomplishments. Accomplishments first and foremost of all of our students. From matriculation to tassel turning, they have achieved so much, and often in the face of challenging obstacles. Of them all, we are very proud. Accomplishments of all those who support our students, families, friends, and faculty, without whom success remains merely a dream that cannot be grasped. But remind them as they stand here, lest they rest on their laurels as they take this well-deserved victory lap, that there is much more ahead. Challenge them by the words of the English poet Robert Browning. Ah, but our reach should exceed our grasp, or what's a heaven for? And so may these students continue to stretch out their metaphorical hands to touch a future they dream about, but as yet they cannot fully grasp. And in touching that future, in getting a glimpse of what is possible, of what they have, what they can achieve, and what they will be inspired to do, may they persevere. For all that has been, and for all that is, and for all that will be, I say in the language of our first peoples, miigwech, thank you. And for all who now join me in that gratitude for this college and this evening, please say with me, amen.
Thank you, Professor Charnley, and you may all be seated. This evening, it is my pleasure to introduce our platform party, recognize our esteemed faculty, welcome remarks from our student representative and our keynote speaker, and most importantly, celebrate our graduates as they walk across the stage to receive their well-earned diplomas. Let's begin tonight's festivities by recognizing the distinguished individuals joining me on the platform, starting with our Board of Trustees. As a reminder, our trustees are publicly elected officials who generously give of their time and talents without compensation. Their steadfast dedication to this institution and our community is deeply appreciated. And on a personal note, let me say that it is an absolute joy to serve alongside all of you. Please join me in expressing our sincere gratitude to our board chair, Kurt Peterson. Our vice chair, Carol Dooling-Ravel. Secretary, Dr. Esther Combs. Trustee, Joshua Stump. Trustee, Joyce Kitchenmaster. And Trustee, Robert Marston. Thank you all for your leadership and your service to this institution and our community. Also joining us on the platform this evening are several members of MCC's leadership team. They work tirelessly to support student success. Our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Kevin Wagenmaker. Vice President of Student Affairs, Francisco Ramirez. Dean of Arts, Sciences, and K-12 Partnerships, Dr. Jody Bennett. Dean of Occupational Programs and Workforce Development, Scott Matson. and Dean of Health and Community Partnerships, Tracy Zamoron. It is also my honor to introduce our 2026 commencement speaker, Dr. Scott Knigsnick. We are additionally privileged to be joined tonight by two former MCC presidents. President Emeritus, serving from 1971 to 2009, Dr. Donald Burns, accompanied by his wife, Maureen. And President Emeritus, serving from 2009 to 2019, Robert Ferrantino, alongside his wife, Judy. Thank you both for being with us this evening. Lastly, I want to spotlight our exceptional faculty. Would all of our full-time and adjunct faculty members please stand to be recognized at this time? Thank you. Faculty today is a moment to take great pride in, as your excellence in instruction, mentorship, guidance, and dedication have been instrumental to our students' success. Thank you for all that you do. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium Vice President of Academic Affairs, Kevin Wagenmaker, to present this year's Faculty Awards.
Thank you, Dr. Barrick. While all faculty members are deserving of praise, I'd like to take a moment to recognize two individuals who have been nominated by their peers for this year's top faculty awards. Tonight we have the privilege of celebrating them with a well-deserved round of applause, and they will be formally honored at our upcoming Centurion Awards banquet, where they'll have the opportunity to celebrate with family and friends. When your name is called, please stand and be recognized. The 2026 Outstanding Adjunct Faculty Member of the Year Award goes to Early College Instructor Dave Pyle. Dave is here somewhere. I just saw him out in the hall when we walked in. Congratulations to Dave. And the recipient of the 2026 Leslie K. Morford Award for Full-Time Faculty goes to chemistry instructor Sarah Rittersdorf. Sarah's out of town with the PTK Leadership Organization, so she will be accepting this award at our Centurion banquet. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium Vice President for Student Affairs, Francisco Ramirez.
Taller than I am, so. Thank you, Vice President Wagenmaker. Good evening, family, friends, esteemed faculty and staff, and most importantly, our students, class of 2026. We are here to celebrate you. My name is Francisco Ramirez, and I have the privilege of serving as the Vice President of Student Affairs at Montcalm Community College. At this time, I am honored to introduce you to this evening's commencement student speaker. Libby Berry began her higher education journey through dual enrollment at MCC in 2023. After completing her high school requirements early, she transitioned to full-time studies in 2025. Since then, she has maintained high honors while balancing her coursework with personal responsibilities. She values growth and resilience, and she is grateful for the support of her instructors, peers, community, and all of the assistance that she has had through her time at Montcalm Community College. This evening, Libby will earn an associate degree of Science and Art. She plans to obtain her daily substitute permit and pursue her passion for teaching, while also working toward her long-term goal of building a family. Libby is a dedicated community leader. She is a 4-time poetry slam winner and an active volunteer within her church and local outreach. Her journey reflects passion for service and the love for the art expressed through music, writing, dance, and the visual arts. It is my great honor to welcome to the podium your 2026 commencement student speaker, Libby Berry.
Hello, everyone. Faculty, staff, families, friends, and the graduating class of 2026. When I was 15 years old, I walked into my first class at MCC. I had been homeschooled my entire life. I was young, nervous, and inexperienced. I had never sat in a classroom like that before. I didn't know where to sit, when to speak, or even really what to expect. But I remember something clearly. I remember sitting down in the very back, hoping that nobody saw me, and feeling at home. There was community here. There was opportunity here. There was an atmosphere of students filled with potential and instructors who saw that and encouraged it. I wasn't exactly comfortable. It was a whole new place, and I definitely wasn't confident yet. But something about MCC felt right. Like I'd stepped into a place that was going to change me, even if I didn't know how yet. And I was right. MCC saw me as an individual student and adapted. I didn't feel behind or lost in the crowd. I felt seen. At MCC, my story mattered. My goals mattered. The way I learned and my path to success mattered. My professors and coaches and peers came alongside me, and it felt like there was a common goal. We were all here to better ourselves and grow. Because MCC is made for students just like me and just like you. And it's more than just a degree or a certificate. Because for me, college hasn't just been a place I attended. It's been the place I grew up in. While most people measure college in credits or semesters, I tend to measure it in versions of myself. The 15-year-old who walked in, unsure and quiet, not yet knowing what I was about to face. Then the one who slowly found their voice, who may have answered a question or helped out another student. Then the one who learned how to speak up, take risks, and trust herself, to walk into the classroom with confidence. The one who took a leap of faith and was selected as the 2026 student commencement speaker, something I would have never dreamt of just a few years ago. Yet here I am, standing here at the mature and seasoned age of 18, as you can tell, with 3 years of MCC behind me. And I can say those years didn't just, some of us came here unsure and found our strength. Some of us had a plan and learned how to adapt when it changed. Some of us came here quiet and found our voice. Some of us have faced struggles. Some of us have celebrated huge achievements. Some of us have experienced changes we would have never expected and crossed bridges that once seemed impossible. And somewhere between the assignments, the stress, the grades, the friendships, and the moments we didn't think we'd get through, we grew. And that's what today represents. Not just the end of our time here, but the proof that we've changed. That each one of us can look back at a smaller version of ourselves, and we can see how much we've grown. And now we can face new opportunities with confidence. We can trust that we are capable, that we can walk into something unfamiliar, feel completely out of place, and still find our footing, because we've already done it. We did it here. To my fellow 2026 graduates, as we leave MCC, a place that for many of us became a second home, I hope we carry everything we've learned with us. The courage to walk into new rooms even when we don't feel ready. The willingness to grow even when it's uncomfortable. The bravery to try new things, go to new places, and experience the world around us. And even when things are shaky, we can remember we've earned the confidence to trust that eventually we'll find our place again. Because if a 15-year-old walking into her first classroom could do it, then so can we. To the MCC faculty and staff, our families, and everyone who supported us, thank you for being the foundation of our success. This hasn't just been a school, it's the community where I grew up, and today it's where our next chapter begins. Congratulations, class of 2026.
Thank you, Libby. In recognition of your accomplishments and in honor as of your role as this year's commencement student speaker, we are proud to present you with the special memento from Montcalm Community College. We are incredibly proud of you, and we are confident that you will continue to accomplish great things and make MCC proud.
Thank you so much, Livy. We're so proud of you. It's now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for the evening, Dr. Scott Knigznik. Dr. Knigznik brings more than 30 years of experience in education and is currently serving as superintendent of Clinton County Regional Educational Service Agency. Now in his 25th year as a superintendent, his leadership journey has included roles in Fowler Public Schools, Montcalm Area Intermediate School District, Ingham ISD, and the Michigan Department of Education, where he served as deputy superintendent leading statewide efforts in special education, career and technical education, and early childhood. A graduate of Central Michigan University, he has earned bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. Dr. K, next year our commencement speaker is going to have the last name of Jones or Smith. Dr. K has been deeply engaged in educational policy and reform. He has served on numerous state-level boards and commissions, including appointments by both Governor Snyder and Governor Whitmer, and has helped shape major initiatives such as the Path Forward and Michigan's Preschool Inclusion Action Plan. Closer to home, he has impacted Montcalm County, including advancing early college, supporting the creation of the Community Dental Clinic, and securing a county-wide special education millage. In recognition of his service, he received Montcalm Community College's Stanley and Blanche Ash Distinguished Service Award in 2016. Please join me in giving a warm MCC welcome to Dr. Scott Knigznik.
Thank you. Well, good evening. Members of the Board of Trustees, President Barrick, distinguished faculty, parents, guests, and graduates. It's my pleasure and a privilege to share some thoughts with you on this very important day. Before I begin my address to the graduates this evening, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the efforts of three other groups of people. The graduates before us could not have earned the accolades they're about to earn by themselves. It took the time, the patience, the commitment, and the devotion of their families, their friends, and their teachers. Without the support and involvement of these people, we would not be here tonight. All of these people have played a key role in the education of the students in this gym. I'd like to thank you all for all that you've done for the graduates. Your hard work and dedication are greatly appreciated. Please join me in giving these folks a round of applause for their efforts in making this night possible. I would also be remiss if I didn't share how honored and humbled I am to be delivering this address this evening. You see, I am one of you. Sure, I am older than most of you, but I too was raised in a small town. I grew up in Fowler, not too far away from here, and graduated with a class of 47 students. I, like many of you, am a first-generation college student. My folks didn't go to college. My dad worked at Fisher Body, and my mom was a bookkeeper at our local doctor's office. They did, however, know the importance of education and supported me to enter a world of many unknowns as I began my college career. And finally, I, like you, chose to go to and graduate from a community college. I graduated 35 years ago from Lansing Community College in 1991. Spending my first 2 years there was the best decision I ever made. As a community, I cannot tell you how blessed you are to have Montcalm Community College right here in Montcalm County. Of the 83 counties in Michigan, there are only 28 community college districts, and most of them are in more urban areas. This institution is a shining light for this community. It not only provides high-quality,
post-secondary educational opportunities, it also stimulates economic development and drives workforce development. It is a true asset whose worth is beyond measure. Never forget how valuable Montcalm Community College is for this county. Now, on with my remarks for the graduates this evening. To the Montcalm Community College graduating class of 2026, there are two bits of advice that I would like to pass along to you tonight. And I know what you're probably thinking. Oh, great, here goes some guy that I don't know who has a very funny last name trying to tell me what to do. But that's not really the point. So to keep your attention, I'm going to give one of you $100 if you can recall the first bit of advice that I share with you this evening. I know now some of you are thinking, great, another test. I'm done taking tests. But that's not the point. The beauty of this is that I'm going to give you the answer, so all you have to do is listen, pay attention, and raise your hand when I'm finished. So here it goes. The first bit of advice is that things are not always as they seem. Up to this point in your life, things have been pretty predictable. When you were very little, you knew that it was hot in the summer and cold in the winter. Nothing was more apparent to you. When you started elementary school, you knew that you were either going to get chocolate or white milk, and that 3 recesses a day was a lock. Once in middle school, those 3 recesses quickly moved to 1. Upon entering your respective high schools, you knew that homecoming was in the fall and prom was in the spring. Once you arrived here at Montcalm Community College, you followed a detailed course of study that was laid out in front of you. You knew what course you had to take and when you had to take it. And as you completed the class, you crossed it off the list. So yes, your lives to this point have been pretty predictable. And contrary to my advice, things have been pretty much as they've seemed. However, the world you're about to enter does not contain the same guarantees that you've experienced up until this point. No, the world that awaits you, the one that is often referred to as the real world, is not predictable at all. There are no guarantees, let alone recesses or proms or planned courses of study. And in this world, the real one, things are not always as they seem, especially with the onset of artificial intelligence. This technology alone floods our news feeds, our social media, and the internet with photos, stories, and videos that may or may not be real. So no, nowadays, things are really not always as they seem. I have 3 short stories that I would like to share with you to illustrate my point. The first story involves Joe Namath, a former NFL quarterback for the New York Jets. Most of you probably don't know who he is, but he was an extraordinary and very famous football player in the 60s. Everyone knew him as Broadway Joe. He himself recalled one incident in which he was trying to get into a restaurant in New York City. Of course, everyone who saw him knew him and was asking for an autograph. He signed dozens of them before he was able to get a table. When he finally was seated and looking at the menu, he could see a little boy, probably 10 or 11, approaching his table, and he thought to himself, another autograph. He quickly looked around for something to sign and could find nothing, so he simply laid his menu down and signed it. When the little boy arrived at his table, Joe smiled and handed the little fella his menu with his autograph on it. The little boy looked at him and replied, "No thanks, mister. What I really need is to borrow your ketchup." Things are not always as they seem. The second story is one thing that we can all relate to. The story finds 2 people having a cup of coffee in the kitchen of a very nice home on a sunny summer afternoon. The owner of the home was complaining about the neighbors next door. You see, they were lazy bums. Neither the mom or the dad could hold a job. Worse yet, it seemed these neighbors couldn't handle their children. They were always running around the yard yelling and screaming. And their house, what a mess. Their cars were seldom washed, and the grass was never mowed. The homeowner looked and said, "Look there," as she pointed out to the window at some sheets that the neighbor was hanging on the clothesline. "This is a perfect example. Look at how dirty those sheets are. She washed them, and they still have spots all over them. Can you believe that?" The guest of the house got up, walked slowly towards the window, lifted the window up, looked out at the freshly washed sheets and replied, "I don't see any spots on those sheets. You need to wash your windows." Things are not always as they seem. The last story that I'd like to share with you to illustrate my point is very personal, as it was relayed to me by my father many years ago. I lost my dad 9 years ago, and I miss him every day. He was my best friend, and despite only having a high school education, he was the greatest teacher I ever had. And he told me this story I'll never forget. The story is a story of a little boy who was very different than others his age. He was considered now what we might consider cognitively impaired, or perhaps on the autism spectrum. He didn't process things the way other children did. As a result, he struggled in school and was teased quite frequently. He was different. One of the things his tormentors did was play a game with him that made him look dumb. Day after day, they would hold a fresh, clean dollar bill in one hand and a tarnished old quarter in the other. Or the quarter. And day after day, shy, slow-thinking little boy would take the quarter on the block, would laugh and laugh and laugh, saying, "Look at him. He's so dumb, he doesn't know that a dollar is worth more than a quarter." This went on for years and years, day after day. 20 years later, by chance, the little boy, now a grown man, met up with one of his bullies, who had since matured. The bully introduced himself and began to apologize for his actions so many years ago. The boy, now a man, who was the butt of so many jokes for so many years, quietly accepted the apology. As the conversation was ending, the bully said, "You know, I have to ask you, why did you keep taking that quarter instead of taking the dollar bill? Day after day, for so many years. You had to know that that dollar was worth more than a quarter. You had to." The same little boy, who had now himself turned into a man, sheepishly looked up at his former tormentor and smiled and replied, "I did know. But if I would have taken the dollar bill, you would have stopped playing the game." Things are not always as they seem. As you leave Montcalm Community College and take the next step in your life, remember these 3 stories. Remember that there are no guarantees in life, and very seldom are things as they seem to be. Remember, too, Joe Namath and the lesson in humility that he learned from a 10-year-old boy. Be humble. All of you, like myself, came from humble beginnings. Don't forget that. And always remember where you came from. Once you forget, you will not know where you're going. Remember the neighbor with the dirty windows. Be careful with self-righteousness, as it will come back to haunt you at some point in your life. No one is perfect. We are all what I call works in progress. And finally, remember the little boy who was different than the others. Know that different is not necessarily less. All of us have talents. We all matter. We all have value, and we all have a purpose in life. Treat everyone with dignity and respect, no matter who they are. Just when you think you might be smarter than someone else, you may very well be proven wrong. All right, that's my last story. So this brings us to test time. Now, if one of you is listening and paying attention, you could win $100. So raise your hand if you can recall what my first bit of advice was. You on the end. Why don't you come on up here? Yeah, come on up. I saw your hand first. Come on up. Come on. The first bit of advice was?
Some things might not be as they seem.
All right, great. So here is your
It's 15.
Oh, wait a second. You got it right. You realized what the first bit of advice was, but this is only a $50 bill, and I said I'd give you 100. Well, that brings me to my second bit of advice that I will close my address with this evening. The second bit of advice is believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak this evening. Congratulations to the class of 2026, and good luck in your future endeavors. I wish you the best.
Well, I could think of no one better than Dr. K for our speaker this year, and I think you can see why. Before we move on, Dr. K, could you join me back up here again? In recognition of all that you've done for education and in honor of your role as this year's commencement speaker, we're proud to present you with an honorary degree from Montcalm Community College. Well, I would now like to turn our attention to our students because today is all about you. Graduates, tonight marks a significant milestone in your life. You should be incredibly proud of yourselves. Through hard work, dedication, grit, and perseverance, you've reached this moment, not by chance, but by choice and commitment. At Montcalm Community College, degrees are not given, they are earned, and you have certainly earned yours. So take a moment to reflect and celebrate. Let this accomplishment remind you that with focus and determination, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Next, while each of you have put in the hard work to reach this moment, we all know that none of us get to where we're at on our own. Behind every graduate is a circle of support, like Dr. K mentioned, family, friends, mentors, who've offered love, encouragement, and strength along the way. And so at this time, graduates, I'd ask that you would stand. Turn and find your people in the crowd and give them a well-deserved round of applause. You may be seated. To all of our family members and friends joining us tonight, thank you. Your unwavering support has made a lasting difference. Okay, at Montcalm Community College, we have a tradition of honoring some special accomplishments among our graduates. And so graduates, if any of these apply to you, please stand and remain standing. If you are the first person in your family to graduate from college, please stand. If you are graduating with a 4.0 GPA, please stand. If you are a Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society member, please stand. If you are a student athlete, please stand. To my fellow military veterans, please stand. If you are a parent, please stand. And if you are a grandparent, please stand. Today, all of you join the MCC Alumni Association. So would all who have graduated from Montcalm Community College in this room please stand? Lastly, if you're excited to be graduating from Montcalm Community College, get up on your feet. Let's go. Stand up. Thank you. Congratulations. You may be seated. And now let's move on to the most important part of the evening. Vice President Wagenmaker, Vice President Ramirez, Dean Bennett, Dean Matson, Dean Zamaron. Let's make it official and get these students graduated. As a special note, if any MCC employee has someone special graduating tonight, we invite you to come and join us on stage to personally present them with their degree.
Chairman Peterson, on behalf of the faculty of Montcalm Community College, it is my honor to present to you the candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for associate degrees in applied science, arts, science, science and arts, as well as certificates.
Can't think of any place I'd rather be tonight. Under the authority vested in me by the Montcalm Community College Board of Trustees in the state of Michigan, I hereby confer upon you the degrees of Associate in Applied Science, Arts, Science and Arts, certificates with all the rights and privileges and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Dr. Bennett, could you please join us?
When directed, will all the candidates receiving associate's degrees and certificates please stand with your row and proceed forward. Libby Berry, High Honors. Jael Hoskins, Honors. Melissa Ketchum, High Honors. Amaya Farr, Honors. Lillianne Rose Martin, High Honors. Edmonds. Zachary Peterson. Brittany Risley. Kennedy Roper. Janae Beerand, High Honors. Ayla Evans, Honors. Peyton Wilhite, High Honors. Emmett Mead, High Honors. Evan Plonka, high honors. Mary McQuarrie, honors. Olivia Bailey. Morgan Gorman, honors. Morgan Van Nortrick. Jessica Henselman. Alexandra Vasquez. Ashley Doty. Camilla Hilden. Jaden Gomez. Alana Kent. Caitlin Bignell. Amber Valdi Villazzo, high honors.
Madeline Crawford, high honors. Mackenzie Zam. Caitlin Austin. Zoe Nicholson, honors. Mackenzie Mortensen. Alexandria Stone, honors. Alicia Downing. Holly Race, honors. Grace Wernick, high honors. Danielle Wernick, high honors. Grace Riley. Amber Rux. Ricardo Ramirez II, honors. Scott Flanagan, high honors. Reagan Holstead. Paige Bliss. Gabriel Tisdale, honors. Dale Scarberry, high honors. Lydia Jennison. Kyron DeLong. Sophia Friedrich Woldheis. High honors. Shane Kraus Sr., high honors. Jared Schoenwant. Christina Rawlings. Maria Calero. Ariana Stedman.
Danielle Cody, honors. Felicia Banfield, honors. Madalena Longoria. Emily Putnam. Emma Kozinski, honors. Andrew Batter, high honors. McKenna Raudio, high honors. Hannah Reed, honors. Emma Rua, high honors. Taylor Bolt. Eden Stewart, honors. Jonathan Dillingham. Jaden Stevenson. Manuel Zacchaeus. Jillian Blair. Casey Carrar Main, honors. Joseph Gonzalez, honors. Dawson Dunn, high honors. Mason Dunn, honors. Aaron Lolly, high honors. Jacob Glessner, high honors. Logan Burns, honors. Christopher Carr, high honors. Ava Smith, honors. Ryan Klingenpeel. Kenneth Mitchell, honors. Ryan Christensen, honors. Molly Sprague.
Ashley Cardenas. Caitlin Galvin. High honors. Imelda Velasquez. Emily Schick. Caitlin Edwards. Sarah Taylor, high honors. Bethany Carlson. Kaylee Schmid, high honors. Petra Mark, honors. Micah Marin, honors. Hogan Ackerson, high honors. Tori Evans, high honors. Roman Blatt. Macy Ingersoll, high honors. Skyanne Sturgeon. Beth Ely, honors. Olivia Ellick, high honors. Katie Farley, honors. Sydney Ives, honors. Savannah Mager. Lauren Daly, honors. Joel Van Kempen, high honors. Courtney Hill. Nicole Hollaba, honors. Tyler Williams, honors. Donica Bignell. Julie Dijon, high honors. Cassidy Pinkney. Braden Bonga, high honors. Ashlyn Young, high honors. Catherine Van Solkema, honors. Marley Worden, honors.